Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and this is all happening in Pakistan. Sometime last week, we were the first here at CNN News 18 to say that there is endgame Imran, which is nigh. It was expected that it would happen towards the end of last week, but it's just spilled over and it's moved out. But now it's all there. The proof is out there. There was a former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Pakistan who was reportedly caught trying to goad a High Court judge in ensuring that Mian Nawaz Sharif does not contest the elections, and neither does Maryam Nawaz's daughter, so that the institution or the deep state in Pakistan can plant Imran Khan as the puppet there. Now, what we're going to play out is a CNN News 18 exclusive, courtesy our investigations editor Manoj Gupta. These are two voices in this audio recording. One is of Judge Nisar, the former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Pakistan, and the other is the High Court judge on the other end. Listen in and read this conversation. So the leaked audio has Judge Nisar saying that there is a certain institution that wants Mian Nawaz to go and to ensure that Maryam Nawaz doesn't contest. The other judge says, I don't think Maryam is to be indicted, but he says, yeah, you know, but this is what they want. For the independence of the judiciary. Somewhere, did you hear that? Let's listen. What does this mean, ladies and gentlemen? This means that the Pak judiciary was answering to the commands of the army headquarters or the deep state. Nawaz Sharif was removed as per the army's whim to bring in Imran Khan. Nawaz Sharif and Maryam Nawaz falsely implicated. The charge doesn't stay. The army wanted them out. And Imran was brought in as Pak army puppet to do the bidding of the Pak army, and now even he is now staring back at them, so they don't like him too. The tape leak indicates the army is also ready to remove Imran too, because ye to tab se pada hai since 2018. So if they had it, now it's leaked and we've got access to it, also shows that they've had enough of Imran Khan. It's time to bring Mian Nawaz back. But the question that we ask is that the Pak army, does it control the strings? This existential crisis that we've always talked about as far as Pakistan. The army always playing a role, or the deep state, the institution, as the judge himself says, plays a role. So Imran Khan is nothing but a puppet, and is Nawaz Sharif innocent? Let's dive into the debate. Tweet about it, coup about it. Endgame Imran is the hashtag. Let's go across to our guests. Dr. Tara Karta, Qamar Chima, Sushant Sareen. Namaste. Now, Dr. Tara Karta, this is what the recording says. That Nawaz Sharif has to go. And this has to go happen after UFA. After that agreement, Dr. Tara Karta, wherein in that statement, they said Pakistan is ready to sit on the table and talk with no conditions. And there was a huge furor. How can Kashmir be overlooked? Why was Kashmir not mentioned? And there was a huge backlash. And thereafter, this entire thing started.
Anand, I think you're quite right on this. It is a fact that. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead, please. I can hear you, Dr. Tara Karta, but we'll just fix the audio and then come across to you. Sushant Sareen. UFA, and after that they said Nawaz Sharif has to go, and this is how he was sent. A Chief Justice tells a High Court judge that you have to ensure he doesn't contest.
Yeah, Anand, even before UFA in 2014 itself, it had become very clear that Nawaz Sharif was going to go when this whole dharna nonsense started by Imran Khan. And the way that dharna was built up, and now today journalists are suddenly finding courage, most of them because they've lost their jobs, that these are empty seats, but nobody allowed them to show the empty seats. And everybody tried to project that this was a huge dharna, very popular. So it started way back in 2014, and they finally got rid of Nawaz Sharif. Now, this current evidence which is coming is the fourth in a row. The first one came from the former judge of the Islamabad High Court, who had gone public and said that the ISI was forcing him to sentence Nawaz Sharif and his daughter. He was sacked because he had named ISI. He was sacked from the judiciary. So much for the independence of this judiciary, which this clown Chief Justice was talking about 2 days back. Number two, the second thing which came was when the judge who sentenced Nawaz Sharif himself came out and publicly confessed that it was a miscarriage of justice, that it was a tainted judgment and he should not have done it. The third thing came just a couple of days back when the chief judge of Gilgit-Baltistan, or Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan, came up with his own affidavit which he had filed, which said that the then Chief Justice Saqib Nisar, who is also on the tape which you are playing out, had been talking to somebody in Islamabad and saying that Nawaz Sharif and his daughter have to be fixed. And now this particular tape comes in, and apparently, according to the grapevine in Islamabad, there is another video which is about to come out in the next couple of days maybe, which will completely expose Saqib Nisar and the rest of them. Just one more point. Look, the fact that the 2018 election was completely rigged was very well known. You know, this new moniker which the ISI earned, that it's the Department of Agriculture, came about because a particular candidate had been caught and kidnapped. He was a candidate from Nawaz Sharif's party. He had been kidnapped by the ISI, and when he finally returned, it was said that the Department of Agriculture had apprehended him for some things, some cooked up case. So ISI earned the moniker of Department of Agriculture, but at that point of time, it became very clear how they were trying to, force the members of Nawaz Sharif's party to change their party affiliations, to take the tickets and then not fight the elections. All of that happened, and the icing on the cake was on election night when this much wanted system called the Result Transmission System, RTS, suddenly collapsed. It collapsed and the results changed overnight magically. So everybody knew that the election was rigged, but everybody knew that before the election, all sorts of shenanigans were adopted by the deep state and by the military establishment to ensure that Nawaz Sharif was out and their favorite Imran Khan was in, and now the whole country is paying the price for bringing that into power because the guy is completely clueless.
True, and the point is that puppets are generally clueless. They do because they don't have a mind of their own. But the people of Pakistan perhaps are realizing now, or perhaps they are now being told that it's time for you to realize. You realize, and then you make another noise. Then we will come as messiahs and saviors, and then we'll bring in another puppet or bring back the old one, perhaps dressed up a little more and perhaps giving it a little more shine, and then place that person back again. Just let's listen into that audio recording once again, which is a CNN News 18 exclusive. We'd like to play that audio recording, and then I'll go across to Qamar and Dr. Tara Karta is also back with us.
मैंने अपने दोस्तों से कहा कि जी इसमें कुछ किया जाए, और मेरे दोस्तों ने उससे इत्तेफाक किया, इंडिपेंडेंस और जुडिशरी भी नहीं रहेगी, तो चलिए
Dr. Tarakarta is with us, but Qamar Chima, go ahead, do your piece. I can see it around you. वो जो ISI नाम का भूत है वो मंडरा रहा है, पीछे पड़ जाएगा if you don't do your bit. आपको भी तो मॉनिटर कर रहे हैं. हाई कोर्ट के जस्टिस को नहीं छोड़ा, आपको थोड़ी छोड़ेंगे. Please start.
Well, I think for one reason or the other, the former Chief Justice have become controversial. He became controversial for collecting money for the funds for the dam. Then he became controversial for this accountability drive against the PMLN and sending the former Prime Minister home. So he has become controversial. On the other hand, the daughter of the former Prime Minister, Maryam Nawaz, is working day and night to expose the characters which were involved in punishing Nawaz Sharif and sending him behind the bars. So she's trying to expose those characters by using judiciary, by using his moles, so that by one way or the other she can expose Prime Minister Imran Khan for his accountability narrative, which she believes and her party believes is all, but just this narrative is flawed because Nawaz Sharif has worked hard day and night to bring more prosperity in the country. So she's working, she's playing very tough.
I can see how difficult it is to reorient yourself from suddenly praising Imran Khan to criticizing Imran Khan. It takes some time to reorient yourself. भले ही आपका syllabus change कर दिया हो, लेकिन नई किताब, नया इसको पढ़ने में, उसको फिर बोलने में थोड़ा time लगेगा. So you rehearse it once more, and I'll come back to you again, Qamar Chima. See, Sushant Sareen, Dr. Tarakarta, the ISI has already very clearly, the machinery has gone ahead and told the Pakistanis who go on these channels, listen, talk up Maryam Nawaz, say Nawaz Sharif is a good guy, and say she is working hard, say that it is Imran Khan who is a bad guy. See, go back to just 6 months ago and see what he had to say and today what he's saying. ये playbook तो अब मैं समझ गया, Dr. Tarakarta.
You have no idea what I'm talking.
Absolutely,
You have no idea what I'm talking.
So, do you have any idea what you're talking?
Obviously,
Dr.
I have
Tarakarta.
an idea.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
can I?
हाँ,
Yeah.
just refer to that brief. अभी आया आपको वो note आया. Please, I hope you got the bullet points right. Dr. Tarakarta.
Yeah, so yes, I think the change in the gentleman's tone is quite evident. But, Anand, what is absolutely shocking even at that time when all this was taking place was that the role of this Chief Justice Saqib Nisar, because an earlier Chief Justice, just a month ago, before that, had dismissed the case against Nawaz Sharif. He had said there's not enough evidence, he had dismissed it. This man takes oath and then restarts the whole thing. Just 2 days later, he restarts the whole case. It was so blatant, it was amazing. A joint investigation team is set up, obviously with the State Bank of Pakistan, the Securities Commission. He says no. He brings up another joint investigative team, which includes the MI, which includes the ISI, which includes the NAB as well. I mean, it's that blatant, okay? Then the reports come. The report from the JIT, which I have read from one end to the other, there is no evidence. All those reports, however, were put online. It is something Pakistan never does. Any report which comes from the government is never ever disclosed. In this case, it was up there for everyone to see. It was discussed on TV. So in the end, the impression which people got was, here is Mr. Sharif, who's this rich guy, he's got flats in London, he's stolen money. It was all innuendo. It was done with media and with this kind of... And to top it all, you know what the then Chief Justice did? He ordered the commission to have a final judgment by July, just 1 week before the election. Because the accountability court said, look, there's not enough evidence. There is no evidence. So he said, no, you have to give me a final case in 4 weeks. So on July 10th, they were asked to give their judgment. July 25th was election. I mean, it was so blatant that one couldn't. I mean, I'm not holding a belief in Nawaz Sharif, right? What he does or doesn't do, we don't know. But this way to go after an elected government is shocking. I don't know. I stand to be corrected. I don't think any other country does it, but not so blatantly like this. Saqib Nisar was wrong.
No, but
entirely.
Pakistan तो हर बार होता है. It's a flow chart. We've perfected that
Yes.
flow chart. Have you not seen the flow chart, Dr. Tara Karta? We're putting out that flow chart of existential crisis, how it happens. And in its little, small 75-year history, you will see this repeat again and again and again and again. Every time it is the institution which will orchestrate. It will create chaos. There will be protests. There will be corruption. There will be charges. There will be a problem. Then it will change. And then finally they will say, oh, we have stepped in, and there will be a martial law for some time, and then they will step back and say, no, democracy has to come. Then they will decide this is the right person, and then they will say, yay, all is well, Naya Pakistan, yay, wo, and then again it will start. Then again proof of corruption, again the whole circle. See, we've got the flow chart, it's perfected. Qamar Chima Singh, अरे इनको कैसे पता लग गया?
No, I think though.
So when is Nawaz Sharif coming? Qamar bhai, बताइए, ये तो बताइए.
No, I think this
कब आ रहे हैं?
bubble of
लंदन से
Imran
फ्लाइट
Khan of
बता दें, फ्लाइट
accountability.
डिटेल बता दें.
Let me tell you. I think this bubble of Imran Khan of accountability of the former Prime Minister Jesus just exploded. Unfortunately or fortunately, Imran Khan could not get anything, and his party is just in so much frustration that they couldn't deliver much on economy front. They couldn't deliver when it comes to accountability. So there is a serious problem for Imran Khan, and above all, this offensive drive coming from the daughter of the Nawaz Sharif is again a challenge. So it is becoming difficult for the former judges. It is becoming difficult for the government to just reply to whatever offensive is coming from the Maryam Nawaz. So this is the reality what I am
all this
talking.
would not have happened because Nawaz Sharif and Maryam Nawaz were there for ready to fight the election. But who told this Chief Justice कि Maryam Nawaz को election मत लड़ने? Who was that in the institution? Don't you want to know, Qamar Chima? और आपको पता है, आप पूछ नहीं सकते.
No, I think as far as this voice is concerned, the former Chief Justice has made it clear this is not his voice, but the people who have exposed this story, Mr. Aman Noorani, he's saying this is his voice and he has gone for a forensic of that. But in reality, if this is to be finalized and exposed,
This is
then I
already
think the
verified by
judiciary must take a
US-based
sumo
experts
notice
saying
on
that this is Judge Nisar's voice.
Well,
And
I
this
think
comes
that the
after
judiciary
like
in
वो step by
Pakistan-
step बताया कि पहले एक जो जज था जिसको कहा गया वो बोलेगा, फिर कोई और कहेगा कि मुझे पता ये हुआ था, अब ऑडियो आया है, and next step Sushant Sareen has already predicted कि वीडियो आएगा. Sushant Sareen, I am only asking Qamar Chima कि नवाज शरीफ कब वापस आने वाले, इमरान कब जाएगा, तारीख बता दें.
I think Nawaz Sharif will not come back because he believes that there's so many cases against him, and the moment he will come back, he will be behind the bars. So in reality, there is some
So
sort
he
of
will
a deal
nominate
between
Maryam
Imran
Nawaz,
Khan.
and it will be Maryam Nawaz who will be the next Prime Minister of Pakistan. So this is
Maryam Nawaz is not going to be the next Prime
from the
Minister.
ISI
She has a
itself.
lot of cases. I think Maryam Nawaz has cases against her.
Well-
So the only choice is that the PMLN can.
There
win
you go.
next
So
elections.
we've got the entire script. We know how it's going to play out. We've shown you the flow chart. Now वो भूमिका किसके लिए बन रही है, stages set. And now Qamar Chima today has come out and said he's gone beyond the brief. It was supposed to be for his consumption, but हमको बता दिया that Maryam Nawaz is going to be the next Prime Minister. So elections,
I'm not
whatever
saying this.
happens, whenever happens, we know that the next Prime Minister of Pakistan is Maryam Nawaz. And the groundwork has been done. Imran Khan is going. We are also it's also time for us to leave this Monday evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to all our panelists winding up this edition of The Right Stand on that note. Short break, and it's Brass Tacks with Zaka. Stay with us.